open source as a license type is one aspect. Open source as collaborative development is another aspect. And I think many companies who are throwing things out to be open source, that's open source as a marketing strategy aspect and just growing their ecosystem. And then once they gained enough, they just close the door, which is, that makes me very angry when people use open source that way, because that not just kind of muddies the water, but it gives a bad reputation to open source to all those people and companies who are new, because we have new generation of people and humans, and we have new generation of companies, so there will be always someone to whom the concept is new, and if their first experience is seeing something like happen, then how could I blame them to come to the very wrong conclusion of, if this is open source, then this is BS, and I don't want to be part of it. This is, that's weird, and not understanding why anybody else would do it. And I can't blame them. If that's what you saw as a first example, then I would walk away probably too. And I also wonder if this kind of license switch ever really worked out for someone on the long run. I don't know if you all know, or anyone out there who's listening or watching, comment below if you do, because it's one thing to look at a company like HashiCorp. They did it a year ago or two now, year and a half, not that long ago. So I think it's too early to tell whether or not it was actually a great idea to do or not, because it's one thing to have the short-term business gain, and it's another thing what happens 10 years from now. It's like, was it really a good idea? So it would be interesting to know what happened with those who did this, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or 15 or something. Like, where did you actually go? Were you successful long term, or you had to pivot to do something else once the fast gain just kind of died out? I would really be interested in seeing that. And the other thing, I don't remember which one of you were mentioning this, asking the company if they are okay with the competitor being more successful. I remember asking that from the business development person of a couple of companies, and they kind of give you the answer they think you want to hear, and then you see the company not actually following up on that. And I keep smiling under my non-existent mustache that, like, you still have a way to go to actually understand why I asked the question and why you have to mean what you actually said. Because saying, oh, yeah, sure, that's not gonna cut it.
There was a slight tangent, but just an interesting story. There's a company, I'm not going to name drop them, but it's a storage company for high performance computing, and they promised that they would open source their client side drivers for a long time. When I was with the Department of Energy, we bought a bunch of these systems under the promise that they were going to do open source these client drivers. That was like 10, 12 years ago. Still hasn't happened. Like, so there's the other side of this as well, where companies are promising and promoting their product with the understanding that something will be open source. And again, in hindsight, I think they would have had a better messaging if they just said, well, it's not our intention right now to open source it. Who knows what the future will bring, but right now it's commercial, because then it sets the expectation, and then you're not doing the bait and switch as you mentioned. And I've also called it open source is not a marketing switch. You can't turn it on and turn it off without having negative repercussions. So if somebody truly wants to open source something, they better be really sure that that's what they want and that's what's best for their business. And open source is not a business model. All right. It's a development model. It is a collaboration model. We've got to be thinking about this correctly if we're going to be making, informed decisions about it.